Hi there everyone, my name's Damien Bird. Today I'm going to cover a solution that was presented on the Power Automate community platform. So the scenario is that we have an Excel table with a list of emails and a list of number of sales, and the aim is to filter those sales based on those that are greater than 0, provide a table, and then get a list of the emails for those users, send them the email with that table. So I have already prepared an example table in Excel, as you can see here on the screen. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into creating my instant flow. So I used a shortcut there, which takes me straight into a manual trigger for flow. So anyway, let's go and grab the list rows action, and we're going to then connect to our SharePoint site, and then our default document library, the file, which is called book, very appropriate, and our default table. So I was going to use a filter query here to filter on the sales value, but I have discovered that you can only filter on strings, and obviously we wanted to filter on numbers. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the action filter array. And with that we're going to take the value from the result of this action here, and we're going to filter on the sales. Now in this case the sales is currently coming back as a string, so we actually need to convert this into an integer, and there is an expression called int that will allow us to do that. But as I jump into the expression builder here and type in int as an expression, if I jump back into dynamic content, you'll notice I now can't select sales. So there's a trick here. The reason I put sales in here is if I highlight it and hit Control C or copy, I can then paste it back out, and the only thing I need to remember to remove here is the @ sign, and that is now a valid expression, and we've got the sales figure turned into an integer rather than a string, and that will then allow us to make sure that the sale is in fact greater than 0. So I'm going to save it here, and I'm going to just run a quick test. And if we just look back at our book, we've got 1, 2, 3 sales that are 0. So when we run our test here, we'll hopefully be able to see on the filter, first returned item here has got a sale of 0, whereas the output shows a sale of 5. And if I just quickly run through there, we've got a 6, a 498, a 528, a 5, a 41, and a 3. So all the zeros have been removed, so that part of the flow has worked. So the next step that I'm going to do here is to create the HTML table. And the HTML table is going to be based on the filter array. So we're going to take the body from this filter, and you've got two options here. You can either allow an automatic table to be created, which will just take all the fields that are returned, including some of the system fields, or we can actually create a custom table. I'm just going to go with a custom table. So there was name, email, and sales amount. And then in order to return the figures here, you'll see that within the filter array we've got the dynamic content item. So again, another little trick. I want to turn this into an expression. If I just highlight it, Control C, that has allowed me to copy that expression, and I can paste it in. I need to remove the @ sign, and we need to call the different columns by name. So the first column is name. I'm going to copy that, and I will paste it in again to the next row here and type in email, and then finally sales. Just make sure that's what I've called it, sales. Perfect. Okay, so again, if I just save that, and I'm going to run a test and just see what we get there as a result. So it's all succeeded, thankfully. So there you go. You can now see our nicely formatted table with the names, the email addresses, and the sales amount. And you'll notice that there are no sales there that are equal to 0. So the next step we're going to do now is to create a list of those email addresses, so we're able to email those individuals together and send out one big email to those that have got sales greater than 0. So I want to create a variable and a string variable. So we'll pick the type here as string and we'll leave it as blank, and I'm then going to go into an apply to each action. And the purpose of the apply to each is to get each of the items from the filter array. So again, using the body of the filter array, we're going to go through each item and we're going to grab the email address and we're going to append that to the string variable that we created just above here. So I can select my email variable, and now we need to get the value that we're going to append to the string. So right down at the bottom here, you'll see there is a current item. Now this current item will actually return all the fields within that element of the body, so we'll get the name, the email, and the sales amount. So we're actually wanting to just capture the email. So again, as before, I'm going to copy this string or this dynamic value and go into the expression builder and paste back in. Remove the @ sign and the additional squiggly brackets and call the email field or element. And if you think about the emails that you see in Outlook, they are always separated by a semicolon. So I've stuck a semicolon on there. And all this is going to do is going to loop through that body, grab every email address one by one, and append it to the variable that we've created above. So your next and final step will be to send an email. Now, I'm not going to send this email to everybody in that list because they are random emails. Potentially some of them might actually be emails. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to email it to myself, and I am going to include both the table and the list of emails. So I'm going to first of all include the email variable in the top there, and that will at least allow you to see the list of emails that we've created. And then I'll also include the HTML table that I've created. So if we go ahead and save that, and we will give it a test run. Now if everything goes well, it'll all be green ticks, and I've just heard the sound from my email. So here we go, we've got our list of email addresses. They are all separated by semicolons, and we've got our lovely formatted table here with all the sales that are greater than 0. So I hope everyone was able to follow that. Here's the final solution. If you have any similar requests that you'd like to see a video demonstration of how I build solutions using Power Automate, feel free to drop me a message. My name's Damien Bird, but you can Google DamoBird365 and you'll be able to find me online. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.